What's up YouTube? My name is Mistic and today I'm watching a video about a paradox that splits smart people 50-50. I don't know if it'll split me because I'm not that smart, but the video is down below. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the channel, but check them out. And let's see if it splits me 50-50, 20-20. I'm not exactly sure what a paradox would even be, like a theory kind of.
There is a problem that I can't bring up without starting a fight.
Okay.
No, what?
It just seems so obvious to me.
Now I'm all screwed up, man.
It has infiltrated every single Veritasium meeting in the last 2
Veritasium,
months.
okay.
It's trivial.
I didn't think you would fall for this side.
Just makes sense.
Let's go!
Crazy.
And I even argued with Derek about it.
There's no way
Okay.
you're trying to convince me. I don't care.
So here's the setup.
Okay.
You walk into a room and there's a supercomputer and 2 boxes on the table.
Okay.
One box is open and it's got $1,000 in it. There's no trick, you know it's $1,000.
Okay.
The other box is a mystery box. You can't see inside. You also know that this supercomputer is very good at predicting people. It has correctly predicted the choices of thousands of people in the exact problem you're about to face. Now, you don't know what that problem is yet, but you do know that it has been correct almost every time.
Okay.
Now, the supercomputer says you can either take both boxes, that is the mystery box and the $1,000, or you can just take the mystery box. So what's in that mystery box? Well, the supercomputer tells you that before you walked into the room, it made a prediction about your choice. If the supercomputer predicted you would just take the mystery box and you'd leave the $1,000 on the table, well, then it put $1 million into the mystery box. But if the supercomputer predicted that you would take both boxes, then it put nothing in the mystery box.
Okay.
The supercomputer made its prediction before you knew about the problem, and it has already set up the boxes. It's not trying to trick you, it's not trying to deprive you of any money. Its only goal is to make the correct prediction. So what do? Do you take both boxes, or do you just take the mystery box?
I forget what it says when I do. So if I took if I took both of them, it would give me 0. If I took only the mystery box, it would give me $1 million. Well, I mean, there's no downside to taking both of them. I would just take both of them. Why would you not take both of them? Because like either you get $1,000 and $1 million, or $1,000 and 0. Take them both, because it probably predicted I would want the $1,000 because I'm very money focused. I'm not going to take the risk with the $1 million with the mystery box, so I would take both of them. So it would probably have 0 in the box. So I would just take both the boxes and get my $1,000 and the slight chance of getting $1 million.
Don't worry about how the supercomputer is making its prediction.
Okay.
Instead of a computer, you could think of it as a super intelligent alien, a cunning demon, or even a team of the world's best psychologists.
Well, I feel like the computer made more sense than an alien or demon, but okay.
It really doesn't matter who or what is making the prediction.
Okay.
All you need to know is that they are extremely accurate,
Okay.
and that they made their prediction before you walked into the room.
Right.
Pause the video now if you want to think about it.
I would take both of them. Why would you not take both of them? Because if they got it wrong, you would get $1 million, and because if you take both of them and it predicted wrong, you still get the $1 million, don't you? Right? And I know I'm a greedy fuck, so they would assume I'm taking the 1,000. So I mean, take both of them, right? Why would you not? I would take both of
Got your
them.
answer?
Yeah.
So I should just take 2 boxes, like obviously.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm just gonna take the $1 million and go with it.
Of course you take 2 boxes.
I would pick both boxes, I think.
I would not get the 2 boxes.
I think I'm taking both boxes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is seeming less
If you
fair.
don't take the boxes, you'll probably get $0. You can at least guarantee the thing.
Paradoxical than I thought, because I should just go in and take the mystery box only.
No. What?
There are 2 camps. 1 boxers who would take only the mystery box, and 2 boxers who take both.
Mm-hmm.
But as American philosopher Robert Nozick wrote, to almost everyone it is perfectly clear and obvious what should be done. The difficulty is that these people seem to divide almost evenly on the problem, with large numbers thinking that the opposite half is just being silly. This is known as Newcomb's paradox, named for its inventor, William Newcomb. The Guardian newspaper polled over 31,000 people about this problem in 2016. 53.5% were 1 boxers and 46.5% were 2 boxers.
I'm in the smaller portion.
Now, if you find it hard to see why anyone would pick the opposite side, well, here are the arguments for each camp.
Okay.
Look, I'm a reasonable guy, and I like money, so I'm gonna do whatever gets me the most money. So let's go weigh the outcomes of both of these decisions. First, I'm gonna say that the probability that the computer predicted my decision correctly is gonna be C. So the computer got it right. And because of that, the probability it got it wrong is gonna be 1 minus C. So let's look at what happens if I try to 2-box. There is a C chance of me getting $1,000 and a 1 minus C chance of me getting $1,001,000. If I add these two together, I get a weighted sum, which is gonna tell me how much I can expect to get if I try to 2-box. This is also known as expected utility, or the EU of 2-boxing.
Wait,
and I can just simplify.
Do I get the million if they're wrong, or if they're right? If they assume I'm lost, because I know I would want the guaranteed 1,000. So I would take the 2 boxes.
This expression a tiny bit. So let's look at what happens if I try to 1-box now. There's a C chance of me getting $1 million, and there's a 1 minus C chance of me getting nothing. So we can cancel this out, simplify this to just $1 million times C. If I equate these two expressions, I'm gonna get the C at which these two expected utilities are equal. And it turns out that the C at which this happens is 0.5005, or 50.05%, which means if the computer is better at predicting than what is basically random, then the expected utility of 1-boxing is gonna be higher. Now I know that the computer is much better at predicting than that because it accurately predicted thousands of people before me, which means I'm sticking with my 1-box. Here's my $1 million. Take that, Casper. Thank you very much.
So I should go in and take the mystery box and leave the other. Because I'm assuming that its prediction is pretty good. It's a supercomputer.
Okay, so you're saying it's not paradoxical because the choice is obvious. I'm very surprised.
But
Why?
In that moment, would you think about taking just the 1? Or would like in that moment, you wouldn't want to risk it, right? Because I would want the guarantee. I wouldn't want the maybe you get something, maybe you get nothing. Or I could get something and maybe a little more. That's how
Because
I
to me,
feel.
the answer is also obvious. And to me, the answer is you take both boxes. So here's how I think about the problem in a way that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
You know that the supercomputer has already set up the boxes.
Yeah.
So whatever I decide to do now, it doesn't change whether there's $0 or $1 million in that mystery box. And that gives us 4 possible options that I've written down here. If there is $0 in the mystery box, then I could 1-box and get $0. Or I could 2-box and get $1,000. But there could also be $1 million in the mystery
Okay,
box.
so I was right. So either way. Okay, my logic was sound. Okay. So yeah, you just take both. Why would you not?
And in that case, I would get $1 million if I 1-box, or I would get $1 million and $1,000 if I 2-box. So I'm always better off by picking both boxes.
Yeah.
This is known as strategic dominance, where I always pick the dominant strategy, which in this case is to 2-box. So give me those boxes.
The 2-boxer argument makes a lot of sense to me. Once you explain it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why exactly you're right. But I can also see that just having those thoughts in your brain are what might allow the computer to give you nothing.
But you get
I think
1,000.
I'm grateful that I just don't have those thoughts.
1,008.
It's so funny because I was totally expecting you to go 2-box.
No way, man.
It seems like there are two perfectly reasonable approaches that give two completely different answers. And that's because your choice actually reveals something fundamental about how you make decisions. It comes down to these two statements. First, as far as you know, basically everyone who has taken one box has walked away a millionaire, and everyone who has taken two has walked away poor. The second, the supercomputer made its prediction before you even knew about the problem. The boxes are already set up, so your decision now can't change if the million is in there or not. Both of these statements are true, but there's a hidden assumption in each that divides people.
We pick both, and the computer picks both.
You just get the $1,000.
I think I would just pick the mystery box.
Just the mystery box, probably.
Yeah.
I might be taking the mystery box.
Just the mystery box?
Yeah, might be.
Would it still be 0?
I don't know. I guess the supercomputer is right, no?
Here's the hidden assumption for us one-boxers. My expected utility calculations are based on probabilities that are using prior evidence of how accurate the supercomputer is, because the thousands of people that it accurately predicted before me is evidence enough for me that when I go for one box, there's gonna be $1 million waiting in there for me. This is based on something called evidential decision theory. And using this decision theory, you get these expected utilities, and my choice is obvious from there. And it turns out a lot of you actually thought the same way. We polled our audience, got more than 24,000 responses, and it turns out 2/3 of you are one-boxers.
I know, it's crazy. I don't trust this.
It's looking to be like you're less and less rational with these results, Casper.
So your argument is kind of that if you one box, it will have predicted that you were going to one box and you'll walk out with the money. That is pretty convincing.
Casper, I'm starting to really doubt this 2-box side of things.
How could you not be a 2-boxer? Gregor has this really funny way of
Well, also, I know the machine would probably think I would go 2. So either way, it'd be empty. Cause my brain wants guaranteed. So I would take the 1,000 and get maybe $1 million, maybe nothing, but I get 1,000. So better than get nothing.
Things. But I make my decision based off something else, something a little more rational, because I believe that whatever I do now can't influence and change the past. I only take into account things that I can actually influence. And clearly, whatever I do now, whatever I think now, is not going to change whether that $1 million is going to be in the mystery box or not, because it was already set up before I learned about the problem. This is known as causal decision theory, where you only take into account things that you can actually cause. And so with this, your expected utility calculation changes. And that's because you need to use a different probability, one where you could actually cause that $1 million to be in the mystery box or not. So right before the supercomputer made its prediction, there was some probability that it thought I was going to one box. I know, it's weird, but bear with me. So let's say that probability is P. Then that's the probability that I'm going to use in my expected utility calculation. And the expected utility to one box is just going to be 0 plus $1 million times P. That's pretty good. But the expected utility for 2-boxing is going to be $1,000 plus $1 million times P. But that's just the same as the expected utility for 1-boxing plus an extra $1,000. So no matter what the computer predicted, my expected utility is always higher by picking both boxes. So of course you're gonna 2-box. Anyone in their right mind would pick both boxes.
It's made the prediction before you're in there. Whether I have faith in this thing being 90%, 100%, it actually doesn't really matter. I think you guys are imposing your will on
Yes, it does.
He's cooking, bro. Like, yeah, you guys think that your decision, whatever you think now is gonna change the past. That's called wishful thinking.
Yeah, like come on. I'm 2 boxes. It only makes sense. I'm back with Casper.
Exactly. Welcome to Camp 2-boxers.
I'm not losing $1 million. It was never in the room, man.
You're gonna walk into a room and there's either money in the room or there isn't money in the room. Your question is, do you pick it up?
Of course.
We're trying to do you a favor here.
You're not doing me a favor because your decision making does not affect. Your little thought does not change God's mind, bro.
Henry, if you convince yourself that you're a 1-boxer, you've convinced the machine.
I don't believe that.
But you don't convince them to
I
laugh.
don't believe you convincing yourself should impact what the machine thinks of you.
They already
you're just
picked
walking into a
it.
room and it's already made.
It looked at the previous version of you, I imagine. The version of you before deciding to trick the robot. So, you can't trick him now. It's too late. Okay? Too late.
the prediction. You can't
Take
impact
two.
it, you know?
So whatever you think is more important, whether that's the evidence of the supercomputer's accuracy or the fact that the boxes are already set up, well, that affects how you calculate the expected utility. And because both of those assumptions are true, both camps have valid answers. But if there's no right answer, then is this just a meaningless problem? Well, not really. Because it actually reveals a surprising amount about three important questions. Does free will exist? What does it mean to be rational? And is there an ideal way to act in life? For example, the only way you're going to win this game is to already be the kind of person to one box, but then two box at the last second anyways. That's the only way you're gonna get $1,000,001,000. But some would argue that that itself is impossible. If the predictor is so good, let's say it's 100% accurate, then that's not even possible.
Right.
Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
Then a follow-up question is, if such a perfect predictor would exist, does that mean that free will doesn't exist? Because you're saying there's nothing you can do in between walking in.
What?
Is, if such a perfect predictor would exist, does that mean that free will doesn't exist? Because
No. It just means it puts together in this scenario, it knows what you've been through, and that shapes how you react, how you have actions based on you went through such and such. It caused you to do such and such. Now that you're older, the robot takes that into account and goes, okay, you'll do this thing based on this previous stuff. It's not saying, like, it's not forcing you to do this. You still have free will in the fact that you chose to do it, I would think. You just kind of do it because that's, every moment has led up to this thing, but every moment was your choice. So, free will. Yay. Yeah.
Because you're saying there's nothing you can do in between walking into that room and making your decision that ends up changing what was predetermined.
That's right. And maybe this reveals where I'm coming from. And I think where I'm coming from is maybe free will doesn't exist. I come down on this point of like, free will is an illusion, but our world operates in a way that is indistinguishable from free will being real. And therefore you have to act as though it's real, as though it's 100% real.
Interesting.
I like my
If we
reason
think that
better.
free will is not real and it's an illusion, and then you have someone who's committing crimes, and then you want to say, well, that's not his fault. Therefore, instead of putting, murderers in jail for 25 years, we're just gonna give them some gardening classes or something. Like, the problem is that then changes the environment where everyone knows you can kill someone and you can go to do the gardening. So you can't change the system based on the knowledge that it's an illusion, whether we do or don't.
If free will didn't exist, wouldn't the fact that wouldn't that not affect how they handle the fact that a killer just gets out? Because wouldn't it be, if free will didn't exist, wouldn't they kill whether or not that other killer got 25 years or guarding classes, right? Wouldn't they still do the same thing because it would be predetermined if free will didn't exist? Would that not be how it worked?
Have free will, you have to live as though it exists.
So you've still got to make a choice. One box or
But
two boxes?
If you live as
Which
though
brings us
free
to
will
our second
exists, is that not a free will thing to think? Huh?
question. What does it mean to be rational? And the guy who acted rationally and doesn't believe his thoughts can influence the past.
But your rational choice will have given you $1,000.
I know. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Let's see what I can buy with $1 million.
Not
None of these
much.
look great. I think we could be more creative. Private Island sounds pretty nice.
No,
That's what you
no,
wanna go
no,
out with,
no.
man.
No, no island.
This is known as the why ain't you rich argument, which boils down to one super annoying question. If you're so smart, then why ain't you rich? You know, if winning is getting more money, then of course the one boxers are going to end up better off than the two boxers. But maybe it's not about who wins, but about what's rational. In their
I mean, $1 million is a lot, but the interest has gone down so far, so much. The buying power, I mean, has gone down so much. It's nothing like it used to be. You can't even buy like a cardboard house anymore with $1 million.
1978 paper, philosophers Gibbard and Harper argue that the rational choice is to pick both boxes, although they do admit that
A
two
lot of
boxers
sport
will fare
bikes.
worse. They instead say that the game is rigged, and if someone
Huh? Say that
rational.
again?
In their 1978 paper, philosophers Gibbard and Harper
70s.
argue that the rational choice is to pick both boxes, although they do admit that two boxers will fare worse. They instead say that the game is rigged, and if someone is very good at predicting behavior and rewards predicted irrationality richly, then irrationality will be richly rewarded. But I think that's a bit of a cop-out, because really, Newcomb's paradox reveals something surprising. That sometimes, in order to be a rational person, you must act irrationally.
There's one question of what's a rational person. There's another question of what's a rational act.
Nice.
Most of the time, rational people do rational acts. Sometimes they just don't. And I think this is analogous to the situation in the prisoner's dilemma.
In the prisoner's dilemma, you and another player compete for money by either cooperating or defecting.
Okay.
If you both cooperate, then you get 3 coins each. But if you defect and your opponent cooperates, then you get 5 coins and they get nothing.
Right.
And if you both defect, you get 1 coin each. So no matter what your opponent does, you are always better off by defecting.
Yeah.
But if you play this game not once, but repeatedly, then everything changes. All of a sudden, you're better off by cooperating.
Right.
What's a rational society?
But they could turn on you and then defect. I am so jealous of people who aren't Americans. You can't even get like a 1-bedroom house for like under 200,000 that isn't in like a 100 population town. And if you're in like a big town, it's like 500 minimum for like a decent, like single person house. That's crazy. Damn. Wow. I feel like expensive here is like upwards of $1 million. America's so
Society
fucked.
is full of cooperators. What's a rational person? Maybe a rational person is a defector. And normally you might expect a rational society is made up of rational people. But I think it's familiar that rationality at one level isn't compatible with rationality at the other level.
So while the rational act is the 2-box, a rational society would actually be full of 1-boxers.
Why?
Now, I'm a fervent 2-boxer, but there are 3 ways that you can get me to 1 box.
Okay.
The first is if my choices now can actually change the past. For example, say the supercomputer makes its prediction by opening up some tiny wormhole to see the future. Well, in that case, if I choose 1 box now, that actually causes the $1 million to be placed in there in the past. So
I would
1
say a mansion here is like, what, it depends on the stage. Of like big places, like 5 million maybe, because $1 million could still be like a decent like house. Yeah, for real. 1 bath, not even a toilet, $1 million. You ain't even in like Hollywood. You're just in a random California house. $1 million. That's how it goes.
Second, if there are multiple trials, because now with every game, each of my choices builds up a reputation. So if I 1-box, then I'll be predicted as the kind of person to 1-box, and so I get the $1 million either in this round or a later one. And third is if I can pre-commit. If I can talk to the computer to make my case before it makes its prediction, then I will 100% 1-box. Because staying true to my word is important to me.
That's
and the
not a
supercomputer would
part.
know that.
Talk with my word.
That is not a part of the paradox. That was not added. Okay? That was not part of the deal. What do you mean it's not gambling? There's no other way to earn money. But like, these other problems are not a part of the original thing. You don't get more than one choice. You don't get like previous knowledge of anything. These two things are not possible. That's you're putting false things. Exactly. Gambling is so reliable. Coming from a gambler with like $1,000 down the hole. But you can't just add rules like that. You can't just add that.
Yeah, 100% one box. Yeah.
You can't do that.
But there are some realistic scenarios where
That's
staying true to a
cheating.
worse option could have deadly consequences.
Huh?
On the 29th of August, 1949, the Soviet Union detonated the RDS-1 bomb as part of their first nuclear weapons test.
What the fuck kind of transition is that? What kind of transition is that? Oh yeah, would you pick the 1 box or 2 box? Would you green or red? Would you detonate a bomb? No. What kind of segue is that? What kind of segue is that? What are you doing? Why?
This sent the US and the USSR into a furious arms race. By the mid-1960s, the US had over 30,000 nuclear warheads, and the USSR had just over 6,000. Both sides were more than capable of destroying the other. The U.S. Secretary of Defense at the time, Robert McNamara.
Is this a do they stockpile, or do they make up and befriend kind of situation? Like, do they betray one's trust? Is that the
didn't advocate for
theorem?
disarmament. Instead, he recommended a strategy of assured destruction, where the US should be able to deter a deliberate nuclear attack by maintaining a highly reliable ability to inflict an unacceptable degree of damage upon any single aggressor. This strategy eventually became known as mutually assured destruction, or MAD. If either country attacked first, the other would surely retaliate and lead to total annihilation of both sides.
Right.
So having that commitment to retaliate is beneficial. It stops the attack from happening in the first place.
Now, say you are the US president during the Cold War. You have publicly committed to retaliate if the US is ever attacked.
Right.
But you've just received word that the Soviets have launched their missiles. It's not a system error, it is a real thing. So what do you do? If you launch now, then at best everyone in the US and USSR dies. And at worst, you get a nuclear winter that kills nearly everyone on the planet.
Everyone in the whole world dies. Then I probably don't launch.
But you did pre-commit.
Yep. I don't like the outcome.
No, it's terrible.
I don't like the outcome of everyone on Earth dying, so I'm gonna just not.
I like the outcome of everyone on Earth dying. Push the button. I mean, maybe push it. Maybe don't.
Electing their leader. Which leader do you want to elect? Do you want to elect someone who's crazy and is always going to press that button? Or do you want to elect someone who makes the seemingly rational choice of saving people and not press that button?
I think you want someone who maintains.
You get a missile. You get a missile. You get a missile. Everyone gets a missile. Yeah.
Maintains the posture of always pushing that button.
That's right.
And then you want someone who secretly will not actually push that button.
There is an inherent risk there, which is that if anyone finds out, you're exposed.
There's this other game theory interaction in the game they call chicken. You're both driving your cars at each other. The worst thing is if
what do you
neither
mean
of you swerve.
exposed?
Anyone
What?
could push that button.
That's right.
And then you the posture.
People and not press that button.
I think you want
Makes the seem who's crazy and is always going to press that button? Or do you want to elect someone who makes the seemingly rational choice of saving people and not press that button?
I think you want someone who maintains the posture of always pushing that button.
That's right.
And then you want someone who secretly will not actually push that button.
There is an inherent risk there, which is that if anyone finds out, you're exposed.
There's this other game theory
so you're
interaction in the game they call chicken.
psychological
You're both
stuff,
driving
okay.
your cars at each other. The worst thing is if neither of you swerves, because then you both die. But you win if the other person swerves and you don't. The best strategy in this game
Me
is
and my
to visibly
me and my bro are playing a chicken. It's been years. He's still committed to the bit. We just had our second kid. I'm still waiting for him to back out, but like he never backs out. He just backs into me every night in the ass. One day I will be him at Gay Chicken. Okay, one day. I'm in this for the long haul.
Take the steering wheel out of your car and throw it out the window so that the opponent can see that you've done that. Now they know you cannot swerve. You're this mad dog that's just going straight ahead. And now they realize, now my best action is just to swerve. And that's similarly like what you want with the nuclear deterrent, as they set up in Dr. Strangelove.
In the 1963 film Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, the Russians built the perfect doomsday device. As soon as it detects a nuclear attack or any tampering, it automatically triggers a large enough nuclear explosion to kill everyone on the planet.
The tampering kill switch isn't there to prevent enemies from disabling it, it's to prevent the Russians themselves from having second thoughts. Now, the whole point of the device is to be so devastating and automatic that the US would never even think about launching an attack. But this only works if everyone knows that the device exists,
right?
Which is the whole point of the movie.
In both Newcomb's paradox and Met, the best outcome follows from a pre-commitment to a worse option. That's what gets you at least $1 million in the former and a tense but stable peace in the latter. It's the commitment that's important. So maybe being rational isn't deciding about what to choose in the moment, but it's about deciding what rules you're going to live by.
The question isn't how to act. The question is, what rules ought one to follow, or how does one even decide what rules to follow? Sometimes it's
okay, but that's not in the original question. This is stuff you added. That's not a part of it. The question is 1 box or 2 box. You can't be doing all this. This is adding irrelevant stuff. Okay. You better give me my $1 million and my 1K.
in the form of, if you knew that you were a robot with programming that you could set, and you could rewire yourself to make yourself obey one set of rules rather than another. The question is, what sort of rules would you wire yourself to obey? And what you would do is you would make yourself into the kind of creature that sort of always acts in line with the commitments that would have been good to form had you even known about the problem.
But you don't.
In a situation like the Newcomb case, you
But
would
you
end up finding
don't. You don't know about the situation. You don't know about the situation. The situation specifically states you had no idea this would happen. This you can't do this stuff. Illegal. I call hacks. I call cheats.
I'll think, if I had been able to make a pre-commitment, what
But you
pre-commitment
can't.
would have been the good one to make? The good pre-commitment to make would have been to be a 1-boxer.
But don't care about
And
that.
since I've
You can't
already
choose that.
wired myself up to be the kind of person that lives up to all the pre-commitments I would have made, then I'm already, in effect, committed
It's
to
almost
1-boxing,
done.
even though I didn't realize it.
I love this approach because for me, it kind of makes it an iterated problem, but maybe more an iterated problem in life. If I don't look at it as a single case and I sort of almost think about it as for every future predictor, for every future case, or like almost building your own reputation, right?
Exactly.
Like you always want to live up to the commitments you've made. So even if you haven't heard of it before, you'd want to stick to
I
those.
don't care. I'm only considering this in this one specific case, okay? I don't care about the bigger picture, okay? I don't care. I know that's what you're getting at. I don't care the bigger picture. I want this specific instance. Nothing else.
Ideal pre-commitment so that you are acting in line with the best version of yourself.
My
Yeah,
worst
that would
version
convince me to
is
be a
my best
one-boxer.
self.
It's rare to convince anyone to switch on the Newcomb problem.
The thing is,
I ain't
even if I
switching.
never run into another
I'm in
generous
bed.
supercomputer again, life doesn't end after I walk out of that room. Like, I should always defect in a one-shot prisoner's dilemma, because I
Yeah.
can only gain by betraying the other player. But
Yeah.
when I play multiple rounds of the game, like in life or in society, everything changes. Suddenly, it pays to cooperate.
Be a good
so being the kind of
person,
person
blah,
that sticks
blah,
to
blah.
an ideal pre-commitment is beneficial. So maybe I was just a one-boxer kind of guy all along.
Don't
all
be
it
a
took
bad
was a little
person.
reframing and a new perspective.
At the end.
The core of Newcomb's paradox is deciding if a strong correlation that you know isn't causal should matter in your decision.
So the question is, what do? Do you pick both boxes, or do you just pick the mystery box?
Might be taking the mystery box.
I would pick both boxes, I think.
I also pick both boxes, so.
I'll take the mystery box.
Okay, why? Okay, so you would pick just the mystery box and probably get the $1 million.
Yeah.
So that's based off, I guess that it's almost always been correct. So there's this correlation. Do we think that correlation is the same as causation?
But how can you tease out what's causation and what's just correlation? Well,
What's
that's a
the
difficult
difference
problem that
in
has
the meaning?
applications
I don't
far
know.
beyond thought experiments. For example, how can you tell whether a drug really works or if any beneficial effects are simply due to random chance? Big questions like these, combined with hands-on learning, is what I love about today's sponsor, Brilliant.
No. That is the end of the actual video, so I will there's the QR code. Dudes. But that's where I will end the video off. Let me know down below which box would you choose, and would you cause a nuclear fallout? Let me know down below. Okay. Bye-bye, YouTube. Until next time.